Good morning, Floss Tube. It's Julie with Reflections Framing and Stitching. Today is Thursday. It is the 22nd of September, and this is Chart of the Week video number 142. Welcome. How are you today? Doing good. Doing good. It's kind of a cloudy, cool day. I'm not enjoying it. I'd like my heat back. But I know some of you like fall, so I'll let you have a day, but it's got to get warmer again. Coming to you on a Thursday because I got a really busy weekend coming up and I didn't want to not get a video made. So going to try and squeeze this in before the shop opens. So we'll see how it goes. I want to thank everyone for their comments. There were 118. Some of those were double comments from some people, so I'm going to say there were like maybe 110 comments. So good job. I appreciate all of your responses. It confirmed kind of how I was thinking, which is always a good thing to confirm that, you know, you kind of know what you're thinking is kind of on par with what everyone else is doing. So I appreciate the comments. I've got kind of part B for the question of the week this week. So I hope you're going to play along. And let's see, what else? I guess we'll just hop right into questions and comments from the last chart of the week video, which was, what was that? It was Scarlet House, wasn't it? I don't know. Anyway, Judy Gibbons mentioned the DMC for Mary Ann Smith do not match the called for silks, that the silks are a much softer look, which I was thinking probably was, I'm judging from the picture, which again, don't always go by the picture, but I was thinking those colors were probably softer. And I would probably like them better myself than the DMC. I did think the DMC were a little bright for me. Some of you like bright, so it might not have bothered you so much. But Judy, thanks for confirming that. If I do decide to add that to the drawer over there, I'll be sure that I order the 103s for it. Is it L'Oreal 13? She made a comment about choosing her favorite dyer being as difficult as picking which is her favorite child. Kind of made me giggle. I always tell my kids that they're my favorite at that particular moment, and that it changes from hour to hour. So everyone is a favorite at some point, but not an all-time favorite. So it did make me giggle. In reference to people, there were a lot of comments about people in our hobby and how they look at it, and I just one final thought on it is, you know, let's just be proud. Let's try and educate people. You can do this in multiple ways. Stitching in public, if anyone looks interested, you can kind of educate them on it. Just be proud of what we do. We're probably the most relaxed people on the planet, and there are so many that could benefit from that. So spread the word. Let's bring in more stitchers. Thank you, Stitch Flow, for the compliment on my speaking voice. I personally absolutely hate my speaking voice, but she said it was very calming and relaxing, so I'm glad it's not like fingers on a chalkboard for you. When I hear myself, it's like fingers on a chalkboard. Renee Schimmel and Kim Davison both mentioned that they're very new to cross stitch, and I just want to say welcome to the dark side. And anyone else who is recently returning or new to cross stitch, welcome. I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you're making friends, you know, that share the same passion as we do. So welcome to the world of cross stitch. If there's anything I can do for you, let me know. Sean Stoner mentioned he was struggling through a 45 count project, and I just want to say, yep, Sean, 45 is a bear. I do not like 45. For some reason, 46 is way easier. 45, it's the base fabric, and it's so tight, I did it once. I will never do it again. It's not worth it. So I agree. I'm sorry you're struggling, and I hope you can get through it. Catherine Hayward asked if Weeks Dye Works dyes both the old base and the new base, the Zweigart base, or have they switched all to the Zweigart base? To the best of my knowledge, and I get this because I have tried ordering some of the colors with a Zweigart base, and they are not dyeing everything with a Zweigart base, at least at the time that I asked, which was probably maybe a year ago. It's just certain colors, and I think it's just certain counts that they are dyeing with the Zweigart base. So, unfortunately, because like I said before, their colors are beautiful. I just don't like the loosey-goosey fabric. Penny asked for advice on working on black linen or even weave. I think she's a new stitcher. And I think she tried starting with black, which, you know, black is hard, even for seasoned stitchers like myself. I try and avoid it if I can. Sometimes it's just the best option. But in that case, I would go more for, you know, a black Aida. I know a lot of us don't like the texture of Aida or the look of Aida. But a black Aida, from the 3 feet that you normally look at something, you're not going to notice that texture. So then we're just left with the fact that it's stiff. And sometimes you just have to suck that up, I guess. But things to help when you're working on black: good lighting. And lighting that comes from underneath. You can put like what do they call them? A light... They're flat. I can't think of the word right now. A light desk, but you can put it on your lap, or a white tea towel sitting on your lap will help. Anything to help you see the holes in the fabric will help. Aida's going to be easier to work on than even weave. Even weave I find is easier to work on than linen, for black anyway. So other than that, slow and steady wins the race. So if you're not enjoying it, though, my suggestion is to find a different fabric. You want to enjoy what you're stitching on. You don't want to have to struggle through it if you can avoid it. It's supposed to be fun. So if it's not fun, switch. Let's see. Oh, Tina had commented that she was going to comment on my video when I was up in Stewart with the girls stitching, and we were talking about who we like for music and who we don't. And she was going to comment that I think it's that she does not like Willie Nelson, but she was afraid to say anything because she didn't want to offend anybody. You weren't going to offend any of us. We all like what we like, you know. We can agree to disagree. I wish there was more of that in the world. You know, I'm not always going to agree with you. You're not always going to agree with me. Personally, Dan thinks Willie Nelson is a puke, but I like his music. I don't necessarily like him, but I like his music. So you wouldn't have offended anyone. Please don't feel that way. We're a pretty easygoing group of women, and we can respect your thoughts also, and you can respect ours, and there'd be a lot less trouble in this world if everyone could just do that. Natalie Fitzgerald tried linen once and was frustrated, and I just wanted to know, Natalie, what was the source of your frustration? Was it too limp? Was it the fact that it has thick threads and thin threads? Too loosey-goosey? What was it that frustrated you? Because maybe some of us can help. I have suggestions. Other people might have suggestions that work for them. Personally, the first time I worked on linen, I threw it down and said, no, this is not for me, and went back to even weave. But it was a cheap piece of linen. Came from, I think it was Hobby Lobby. It was very loosey-goosey, and it had a ton of slubs. All linen is going to have slubs. It's a natural fiber. It's going to happen. But this had a ton of them. And being a new stitcher, at the time I didn't have any stitching friends, so I didn't have anyone I could ask to see what, how do you work around those, or what can you do about it. So if you could let me know what the source of your frustration was, then maybe I can give you some suggestions. And if you want to give it a try, I'd be happy to help out with that. If you don't, that's fine too. Again, stitch on what makes you happy and what you're comfortable with, or you're not going to stitch. Case in point, my Harvest Keeper. I do not like that fabric, so it's causing me to not want to stitch. But I'm going to do it because I want to finish that one, and I'm not starting over. So let me know, please. Cheryl, I'm not going to try pronouncing your last name. P-L-O-U-R-D-E. I don't know how to, and I don't want to fracture it. Dolphin is not a Zweigart base. Dolphin is the normal Weeks base of fabric. She wanted to know whether it was Zweigart or not. It is not. Dolphin is one of those that they do not dye on a Zweigart base. Part of that could be they can't get the color right. Different bases take the color differently, and Dolphin has a unique look. It might not be you might not be able to get the same look on a Zweigart base. Just a guess. I don't know for sure. Just a guess. And finally, Becky Martin asked if I had covered the Plum Street Sampler. This is the day chart as a chart of the week. I have not, but today's your lucky day. I happen to have all the threads and some fabrics, so I decided to go ahead and do that. I don't always do requests because a lot of times I may not have what I need to do a good job on it. So don't inundate me with requests, please. This one just happened to work out. And it's a very pretty one that's very popular. So I will go ahead and do that today for our chart of the week. And then we're going to address the comments from the last video on linen preferences or fabric preferences, what you like to stitch on, where your sweet spot is, if you have a favorite color, if you fabric preferences. So again, this kind of confirmed what I see here in the shop, and the most popular count of fabric that I have found in this poll and based on sales is 36 count. Followed closely by 40 count. So there were like 35 people that said 36 count, 31 people that said 40 count. If you mentioned, 36 and 40, I put a mark on each one. If you mentioned 32 and 36, I put a mark on each one. So 32 came in third, and of those 32, there were 5 people that said 32 count even weave. Even weave is not as popular as linen. 46 count only got 2 mentions. 30 count didn't get any. 35 count got 1 mention. Aida was a tie between 16 and 18. Both had 8 comments. 14 only had 4 comments. So, and 28 count had only 13, and of that 13, 4 were even weave. So, that just confirms kind of what I see here. I probably am going to back off a little bit on ordering 32 count, because I currently have more 32 than I have 36 and 40, and maybe put more of my dollars into the 36 and 40 count, which I have a lot of, but I'm selling less 32 count these days. It used to be 32 was my best seller, but I'm selling less these days. So so yeah, I thought that was very interesting for your answers. So please stay tuned for part 2 at the end of this video. And without further ado, let us go on with the chart of the week, which is This Is the Day from Plum Street Samplers. The model was stitched on 36 count Barb's blend using 1 strand of floss over 2 linen threads. It has a very hefty list of flosses. A lot of them are, however, DMC. Stitch count is 202 by 170. And let's see, special notes. Nothing that there is some tents. Well, it says tent or cross stitch. Doesn't say anything about over 1 stitches, so this would be suitable for those who stitch on Aida. So, yeah. This one came out in 2022, so it's a fairly recent sampler. And once again, there's the colors. My lighting is not very good today because it is cloudy. So hopefully the colors are going to show okay. We'll see. Here's your color palette. Let me see if I have a white piece of paper here. Just to kind of... That's the color palette. So it's very pretty colors. Pinks and yellows and greens. And we'll start off using Barb's blend. This is 40 count. I have 40 count and 32 count. So, but I'm showing you the 40 count. And that's what it looks like. I don't know about you. This doesn't do a whole lot for me. It is not a color that I would choose for those. It's just kind of bland, in my opinion. Don't shoot me. It's just my opinion. Again, I'm entitled to an opinion, and so are you. Alright, so this right here is Mystic Gray. It's 18 count Aida. And I think the colors on this are really pretty. It's got, this is, while being gray, it's a blue gray. So I think that would be a very good choice. Next up is 36 count light Mocha. Just a very pretty beige. And I think the colors are all very pretty on here also. Okay, this one's a little wild and crazy. Not as wild and crazy as the next one, but it's this one's got some movement to it. It is Sassenach, 36 count. It's a hand dyed by Stephanie. So it's got some greens and pinks in there. which I think tie in well with the colors. Can't see when I put this up there, but I think it's really pretty. Now this next one is even wilder, believe it or not. This is one of my all-time favorites. I preferred it when it was a little more toned down. This is the first time it's come in kind of whoa. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. So this is what it has looked like the last couple of times that I've gotten it in. And this is what it looks like this time. So it's quite busy. I still like it, but it is a lot busier than it was. And I just wanted to point that out to you. There we go. But I still like the colors on it. Trying to spread them out a little more. And you also have to remember, I know I've had some people who said, you know, oh, I don't like the really blotchy overdyed fabric. And you have to kind of remember when you stitch on that blotchy overdyed fabric, you're stitching over a lot of that blotchiness, so it's not going to look quite so blotchy when you're done. So keep that in mind when you're choosing fabric and you go, no, I don't like that, it's got too much going on. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to look like there's too much going on when you're done stitching on it. This is 36 count Saltbush from Fox and Rabbit. And it looks like that. So this is kind of a darker version of the Barb's blend. This has a little more green in it though. I think that would be pretty. Okay, we're going dark now. 40 count Selkie from, I believe it's Under the Sea. I could be wrong, but I think it's Under the Sea. So it's a nice brown, and I think these colors would be pretty on there. Now, should you happen to start stitching, these would be the only two colors that might be a problem. And I would either darken them or lighten them. So you could change hickory sticks to molasses, which is a little bit darker, and it would show up. Or you could, if you prefer a blacker color, I would use Onyx from Weeks Dye Works. And this DMC, which is 3787, you could switch out for DMC 640, which is kind of a lighter version of the 37 and would show up on this. But I don't know that it's going to be a problem. I just like to give options in case it does become a problem when you're stitching it. So, but I kind of like the dark colors, the dark fabric with these colors. It just kind of makes them sing. And last but not least is 36 count Granite, which is a Zweigart based fabric. It's just kind of a neutral brown, And again, I like the colors on it. I think it's pretty. What are your thoughts? Which one's your favorite? I don't know what my favorite is on this one. I like several of them. I like the Sassenach. I like the light Mocha. I like the Mystic Gray. See, I like them all. Don't ask me to choose. I can't make a decision to save my soul. So, anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. It's a pretty chart. I like the brick house. I'm not sure I would enjoy stitching that brick house, but looks like there's quite a few color changes in it. But I like it. I like it finished as a whole. So there's your last peek at that chart. All right, now for part 2, for your question of the, there's actually 3 steps to the question of the week today. How do you prefer to get your fabric? Do you prefer to buy it by the square inch? Do you prefer to buy it by the fat eighth, fat quarter, fat half kind of thing? Hold on a minute. I'm back. Okay, so I had just asked you how you prefer to buy your fabric. Pre-cut sizes or cut to the square inch. Second question, do you prefer a 2-inch or a 3-inch border when you're ordering cut size, cut to size? Do you prefer 2 or 3 or 2.5 or 4, or what's your preference when you're stitching? And 3, do you buy linen to build your stash, or do you buy it for specific projects? I'm not a stash builder because I have stash that I've bought in years past. I have never gone down to my basement and pulled anything that's in that box. I've never done it. I don't know why. I just haven't. I prefer to get a chart, get the fabric, get the floss, kit it all up, and store it all together. And I don't steal from one to the other unless I'm not absolutely never going to stitch that piece, which most of the stuff I have at least the desire to stitch it. Whether I ever get it stitched, I don't know. But so I don't buy fabric just because it's pretty and I want it. Like that Boston, for instance. I love that color Boston. I have not added just a chunk of Boston to. I don't have anything in mind for it. So the chances of my remembering that it's downstairs and that I'm going to use, want to use it for something, never going to happen. Eventually, I will find a piece, a design, and I will go, ooh, I need to stitch that on that. And then I'll get a piece and I'll kit it up and get all the floss for it. But so I don't stash, but I'm wondering, do you stash? Do you buy fabric? Do you call around to different shops and say, hey, what do you have in? Because this has been happening a lot, especially since COVID. I get these phone calls. Tell me what you have in stock for Lakeside Linens. And when you ask them what size they need, well, I'm just adding to my stash. So I'm just curious how many of you are just adding to your stash and how many of you are actually kitting things up. And I think that is the end of that. Pretty sure. If you have any other thoughts on fabric that you would like to share, please feel free. And I think that's going to be it for the day. It is now 10:02, and I need to return the phone call that just came in, so I'm going to let you go. I hope you have a good rest of your week and a great, fantastic weekend. I've got out-of-town company coming in the first weekend in October, so I have some cleaning to do. I did get the kitchen all cleaned up. The hutch is done. I posted it on Instagram if you wanted to see it. So the kitchen area, the family room, is all cleaned up now. But I have retreat crap in the library and the dining room. And I'm going to have to probably pack that up. Probably. Or at least straighten it up, because it's kind of in piles here and there and everywhere. I've got little odds and ends. You know, I've got the fabric, I've got the fobs, I've got this, I've got that. So I've got little piles of everything, and I'm not quite ready to put it all together. So I'll have to neaten that up, clean the guest bathroom, get the sheets on the bed clean, you know, get ready for company, figure out food. So it's going to be a busy weekend this weekend. And I've got Abby coming with the kids, and she wants a family dinner, so I've got dinner to cook on Saturday or Sunday, one of the two. So anyway, that's how my weekend's going to go. I hope you have a fantastic one. Get lots of stitching done, and I will see you the next time. Take care until then. Bye-bye.